So big.
So I'd like to start with any wins you guys are having this week. Escrows, buyers, sellers, good things happening.
I have wins, but I want to hear everybody else's wins. Come on, there's got to be a win out there.
Okay, Janae, you're first.
He's just gonna call.
You know how I am. I start throwing darts.
That's fine. I don't have some big wins, but I mean, I have people out there who are looking for things and wanting to write offers, just kind of waiting for the right house. So
okay, cool.
A little quiet in my corner.
Okay, this will play into today's topic, but how are your conversations going on with interest rates?
Well, one hot client's paying cash, so that's kind of a null point.
Okay,
but I do have some land that I'm trying to sell. And I reached out to one of the developers who I've been kind of emailing back and forth about it. And I reached out to him today and he said, well, I'm kind of waiting until the interest rates cool off a little bit before I buy
2
anything.
years.
So
that's going to be a little bit possibly. So good conversation. I'm just curious because we're going to talk about that today. And then I don't know how much new construction you guys are dealing with on the buyer side with new homes. That market's changing very, very rapidly as well. Oh, let me let a couple people in. Sorry. I'm going to make Nikita co-host also so we can, if you see anything. Okay, cool. I think I got everybody here that was supposed to be here. So thank you, Janae, for sharing that. The topic of interest rates are number one right now, pretty much in any real estate conversation. And so it's good for us to know how to continue to have that language around it. So I thought we'd spend a little time today giving you guys some tools that would help you both in mindset and understanding of rates. And I'm definitely going to lean on Andrea, maybe even Glenn for this one, experience-wise, to give your version of what's really working right now in the rate conversation. Rates are at what time, what today? Somebody that didn't look at the app 4 minutes ago, because you know I'm on the call with you, Andrea. Who knows the rates today that didn't look at the app in the last 10 minutes?
Last I saw was 678.
Okay, 7.12 today. Okay, and that's the highest I've seen them. They went up to 7.08 last week, and then they came back down. Again, this is a national one. This is not Albany specific, but this is good for you to have talking points when you're talking to people. The conversation is the Feds are going to raise the rates again here in the next week or so. I forget when the next meeting is. I think it's this week or next. They're going to raise some probably 75 basis points again. That's 0.75%. My adjustable rate on my HELOC has gone from, we're talking in 30 days, it's gone from almost 5, so like 4.9 or 5.1 to 7 in 30 days. Adjustable rate mortgages, or with the adjustable rate on a HELOC. So that affects people in different ways as well. Rates will come down. I promise you they will come down. But in my very humble opinion, which nobody has this crystal ball, but in my belief, unless there's something major like wars, the government turns over, a major deal, I think there's no way for us to change the path here for the next 12 to 18 months. So the rates are going to slow the economy. That leads to recession. Recession is not a scary word. We're already in it. Depends how you define it. It's a political thing now of how we define it. But regardless, it's 2 negative quarters of domestic growth. We've already saw that. I think we're going to continue to see that. So the good thing about recession is they will lower the rates to combat recession. So it's this really wonky thing. It's like, we're going to raise the rates to $6 so nobody drives. And when nobody's driving, it's like, okay, let's sell gas for $1.50 because nobody's driving, right? It's kind of that analogy. And I'm opinionated, so you get my opinion. We're gonna see this 12 to, it's harder to go out too much further than that, but in next year, we're gonna still continue seeing these rates until we get stabilization in the economy in as far as inflation's kind of what they're really triggering right now. And then the next thing will be jobs and the things that go with that, right? So when you're having interest rate conversations with people, it's really just important to talk to them about where we've been over the last, say, 20 years is really we've been in about a 6.5 to 7% interest rate point as our high. So 20 years ago, the rates were, and I didn't look them up exactly, but I remember when I was writing offers in 05, 06, they were 6%, 6.25, 5.89. They were all in that 6 range. So when you think of it that way, we're back to where we were 20 years ago, which that's really not a bad thing if you look at it. But we've come so accustomed to thinking that 2.5 is a normal rate. It's never been a normal rate. But maybe to the people on this call, that's the normal that you understand, okay? So as we have these conversations with people, being educated to say, hey, rates today are at 7.18 nationally. My guy locally can get probably under 7. And so marry the house, date the rate, meaning that if you're not going to live or sell the house in the next 1 to 2 years, if you have a need for a house, then now's the best time to buy. There's less pressure, there's more inventory. All of these things are positives for the buyer. And the rates are going to be, you might even look at an ARM right now. We've talked to a couple national lenders that are like ARMs are becoming popular again. Getting into a 2-1 or a 3-1, there might even not be a 2-1, but a 5-1 ARM with no prepayment penalty is really a good opportunity to keep the rates down a little bit. Typically, they run a little bit lower than a fixed rate, sometimes even a couple percent. Right? So those are conversations that will help you get over that language. So what I want to do is I'm going to call on you because I want interaction here, and it's not the Randy Byrd show. It's about your benefit. But I want to call on you of what the language sounds like from you to a buyer that's asking these rate questions. There's no wrong. I just want you to practice, understand it, and then have us collectively as a group get better about how we feel about it. Okay, so any volunteers that want to go first with you being Glenn? Okay, perfect. So you're going to be the agent. I'm going to be the buyer.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit, throw you guys off base on purpose. Okay. So, hey, Glenn, the wife and I talked, and I know we've been looking at houses, but we're going to wait a little bit. We think the prices are going to come down pretty significantly in the next, year.
Okay. Aside from the prices, what's a deciding factor to make you wait?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's all price with us. I think the interest rates are high, but those combined, it's really, we think the prices are, I think the REOs are going to come back. I think the world's going to come to an end, and the REOs and foreclosures and short sales, all that's going to happen again. We want to take advantage of that. I think it's reckless for us to buy now.
Okay. Well, I can absolutely appreciate that. What I'm seeing in this environment right now is there's still an attrition as far as your the values. They may not be going up as fast, but they're still going to be going up. Over the last couple of years, we've seen 15, 16% valuations going up. We're going to start getting back into the normal 5-6% increase as far as value goes. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think values might go up a little bit, but I think prices really could come down a lot as well. I got a moth flying right in my face.
And to speak to your other concern about interest rates, I heard this the other day, and it made so much perfect sense to me, is that unless you are short-term buying, that you want to marry the house and date the rate. And what I mean by that is if you're correct and the rates are continuing to go down when you think next year, then you would refinance. So you get the house and you get yourself into the house, and then you're dating the rate, so that way you can refinance it next.
I love it. So pause for a second. First of all, Glenn, thank you. You're smooth. You're articulate. I could tell you do a great job with buyers. Okay. and I'm setting you up a little bit with this, but what do you know about me as a buyer?
Cost.
Cost. So I want you to redo this language with me, being completely in curiosity. Don't tell me anything.
Okay.
I want to go to the other extreme, because as you really stay in curiosity, you're going to get into more layers of opportunities for how you can help them. And when you try to combat what they're saying with language, you're really just, you're not understanding the power, the superpower, which is what their needs are, right? And also you might find out little other pieces of data. So try to come from a place of strict curiosity and try to catch yourself from saying anything about what you think. And I know this is a different strategy for you. So what I'd like from people to do is type questions that will help Glenn in this exploratory conversation with me as we're going. So just type it in chat. But in the meantime, Glenn, start asking me some questions. So I think we're going to hold off, Glenn. I think the house prices are going to be coming down.
Okay. Is there a price point that you're, let's say you're looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that's currently listed at 500,000. Is there a point where it gets down to a certain number where you'd be comfortable getting back into the buying game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're comfortable at that level. I just and read the notes, because they're going to help you, Glenn. Read the chat. I think we're comfortable. I think we're just going to wait out this market.
Of course. Of course, that question's the best question. Thanks, Russell. Let's talk about your reason of getting into the market in the first place to buy. What were your driving factors to make you want to buy?
It would throwing away money on rent.
Okay. Okay.
Dig in on that one.
Okay.
So let me ask you, Glenn, if we turn this around for a minute, and thank you for participating. This is gold. Trust me. If I turn this around and you're the buyer now, I go, hey, Glenn, let me ask you, how does it feel to know that you're just literally burning $2,000 a month in rent? Have you and your family talked about that before?
Yeah, and it's a pretty tough subject to talk about, paying somebody else's mortgage, paying somebody else's bills, and building somebody else's wealth.
And I'm sure the landlord's amazing, but you are building somebody else's wealth. How long you been doing that?
Oh, 4 years.
Okay. And have you ever laid a date on like that this has got to stop? Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
And if you waved a magic wand, what would you say? Like if you looked at your alter ego self in the financial sense and you said, this is, we need to like do this, what would that timeline look like?
Oh, within the next 6 months.
Okay. And is there a reason you're looking at real estate that I should know about? Something I could support you on?
Really getting into that, building my own wealth, building my own equity in something that's mine.
Interesting. So do you like working on homes?
I don't. I'm not handy one bit, but I know
Okay.
people.
But you said you want to build some equity in. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, as far as I understand that values go up in homes. So
Right.
it's a long game for me for that, maybe 5 to 6 years rather than flipping.
Yeah, that's good. You know where the rates are right now in the real estate space?
And of course the news just says they're just astronomical, but they're around 7.
Yeah, that's accurate. Good job on that. That's accurate. And you know how much the interest is on your rental?
100%.
It's 100% interest. Thank you for that, Russ. That was a good one. But you see how I'm not shitting on them, and I'm not coming over the top of them. I'm literally just opening the conversations out with them and answering their own questions.
Right.
Really powerful when you come from a place of curiosity and not an agenda. Right. I say that a lot. You'll hear me say, I don't have an agenda, just in curiosity, because I think if I know enough, I can help you more. Right. And Glenn first, and then everybody on the call. What did the differences of that conversation feel like to you?
I figured stuff out for myself. And when I come to self-realization of things, it's more powerful than having somebody tell it to me.
Yeah. And even turn it around when you were running the beginning of it, do you notice how you were kind of looking for the right words to say and you felt like you had to keep the conversation going?
Mm-hmm.
As to where with me, I was asking the questions and you were the conversation, right? And then that little bit of pause allows me to think about the next thing that might be valuable. Yep, I dug into motivation more. That's exactly right. Ashley, thank you. So I want to open it up for everybody for a minute. Got a small call. You can take your mics off. But what did you hear? What takeaways, what ahas from that?
I have a
Hey,
takeaway
Cambria. Oh,
I have a takeaway that's not about what you guys were role playing, but something I think is still really important for everyone to think about, which is what Glenn just did, right? He raised his hand, he volunteered to do this role play. Is so often, and my hand will raise here too, and I guarantee you Randy will too, we get too stuck in wanting to look good and be right. And when we're role playing, it feels rough or bumpy or not perfect. And it is paramount to your growth that you have that 30 seconds of insane courage to jump in and do these role plays, because I guarantee you the person that learned the most out of the last 5 minutes was Glenn. It was Glenn, because he was the one interacting and doing it. Just like you learn how to, where you're going better when you're the one driving versus in the passenger seat, right? It is imperative that you guys get over needing to look good and be right, because that never helps anyone grow. This is the best practice platform on the planet. In front of your client is not.
yeah.
And I just kudos to you, Glenn, for jumping in and doing this, because that is how you guys are going to learn the best. And I love seeing when you guys engage, and I'm off my soapbox. Okay.
No, you did great. And I used to tell my team, and they were my personal team. So it was like, you have to do this, right? It wasn't like, what do you think? It's like, you have to do this. You have to role play 15 minutes a day before our power hour. I want you to practice on me, not my clients, right? It's sorry, I love you, but that's the reality of how top teams operate. And we're coming from a place of love here. We're coming from a place of watching you win, watching you succeed, and watching you grow as a human being, because you get more belief in yourself and then you get better at what you do. Who would feel better about doing a role play off the recording? Because that does matter sometimes. Anybody feel it'd be more comfortable to stop the recording and do role play so it's just eyes only? Okay, surprising. I thought I'd have a couple of hands there. So since you're cool with doing it on the recording, Cambria, how are you today?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
Awesome, doing amazing. May I have your permission to do a role play with you?
Sure. I wish I would have raised my hand to say stop the recording, but
I will. I'm happy to.